So we're going to get started today in a comfortable seat. You can sit cross-legged or on the ankles, just however you can find some comfort with the spine nice and straight. Maybe elevating the hips if that feels better. And taking your time arriving. Shifting your body in any ways you need to be comfortable. Letting the eyes close whenever you arrive. And take a nice cleansing breath when you arrive. Inhaling deep through the nose. Exhaling to release it all through the mouth. Letting the shoulders drop as you do so. Letting all the muscles in the face soften and release. Letting the forehead expand. Letting the eyelids be effortlessly closed, not holding them too tight. Letting the jaw release, the tongue release, the neck and the shoulders softening. Allow yourself to be rooted down and supported through your sit bones, through your tailbone. And allow yourself to be lifted and light through the crown of the head. Feeling that clear energy channel from the tailbone through the low back, middle back, upper back, back of your neck, and the crown of the head. Tuning into the breath. Allow the spine to lengthen as you inhale. And allow your seat to soften as you exhale. And consciously deepening the breath. Filling yourself up as you inhale. Letting go of anything you don't need as you exhale. Taking a few more deep breaths like this. And starting to activate your Ujjayi breath, inhaling and exhaling through the nose with a slight restriction in the back of the throat, as if you were fogging up a mirror, but with the mouth closed. Letting this audible breath carry you through your practice today. And start to add some movement into our breath. So just start by rotating your torso clockwise. You can start the movements pretty small and gradually let them get bigger. Circling your torso around, you can bring your heart forward as you come forward and curl the heart back. And just notice where it feels best for you to move from. So maybe most of your movement is coming from the upper body, or maybe most of it's coming from the hips. Maybe you tilt the pelvic floor back as you come forward and curl the pelvic floor forward as you curl back. Maybe you add the neck into some movements. And then you can switch directions if you haven't already. Going counterclockwise. You're starting to get the fluid moving around the spine. You're rolling out the shoulders as well. And always permission to close the eyes throughout the entire class, which can just allow you to be a little bit more free in your movements. You're not thinking about what it looks like. And just letting the body move by itself without the mind interfering. And so allow your torso to come back to a central, neutral position when you feel ready. And then you can bring your hands to your shoulders and take some big circles with the elbows going forward. You can go 5 or 6 times going forward, and then reverse the circles going backwards. But just paying close attention to the shoulder moving within the socket. Feeling all the kinks, any creaks, any cracks. Feeling the heart expanding a bit more. And then when you're finished, you can just let the arms settle down by your side. Switch the crossing of your legs, so whichever foot is in front, you can put that one behind, just to feel a bit more even in the hips. Then as you inhale, reach both arms up, get really nice and long in the side bodies, tucking the bottom ribs in. And then exhale, twist to your left, so the right hand comes to the left knee, and the left hand comes behind your sit bones. Get some length, lifting from the crown of the head as you inhale. And as you exhale, twist a little deeper, pulling the navel into spine. Inhale, lengthen once more. And exhale, twist a little deeper, maybe looking over the left shoulder. And then inhale your head back to center, your arms back to center. Inhale, both arms reach up. And exhale, twist to the other side. So left hand comes to right knee, right hand comes behind your seat. Lengthening the crown of the head up as you inhale, twisting a bit deeper, pulling the navel into spine as you exhale. Another breath here. And as you inhale, you can unwind, bring the head back to center, arms back to center. Reach both arms up, get really nice and long. Once again, maybe roll out the wrists, take a few circles with the fingers. Just open and close the palm a few times. And then as you exhale, you can come into your tabletop position. So bringing the hands out in front of the shins, rolling over the ankles, or bringing the feet behind you into your tabletop position. Spreading the fingers really wide as you can, exaggerating that distance between the fingers a little bit more. Seeing that the creases of the wrists are parallel to the front edge of the mat. Rooting down in the base of the thumb, the pointer, and the pinky, as well as the tips of the fingers. Root down in the tops of the feet and the shins, with the knees right under the hips, and the feet hidden behind the thighs. Moving a little bit mindfully in your cat-cow. So you can inhale to drop your belly, lift the gaze, lift the tailbone. And then exhale, pull the navel to spine, tuck the chin and the tailbone. So move through the cat-cows a few times on your own. And see if you can move a little bit more mindfully than usual. Permission to have these movements be as small as you'd like, maybe really subtle movements, or maybe they're really big and exaggerated. Whatever feels natural to you right now. And then permission to play around here. So maybe wagging the tail, looking back toward either hip, maybe twisting the upper back, taking turns bending your elbow and looking over the opposite straight shoulder. Going to the other side like that. Just playing around here. Whatever feels good, just moving with your breath. Envisioning the movement of your spine, seeing the movement of your spine even when the eyes are closed. And then finding your way back to a neutral tabletop as you feel ready. And then we'll start to wake up the core a bit. So you can extend your right leg back, reaching through the heel. The toes can stay on the ground to start, just to gain your balance. And when you're ready, you can lift your toes off the ground, but keeping the hips square to each other, square to the mat. And then starting to walk your left fingertips forward, and maybe they stay on the ground. Maybe this is enough to challenge your balance. If you want to come a little deeper, you can lift that arm off the ground as well. So the opposite arm and leg are extended. Your gaze is right in between the hands, or where the hands were. Straight down, so the neck stays straight. Pull the navel in, pull the lower ribs in. And then exhale, crunch your elbow to knee, lifting the back of the heart, cat spine, Inhale, reach long. And exhale, crunch. Do one more like that. Inhale, reach the fingers and the foot as far away from each other, and then crunch it in. Inhale, reach again. Maybe you just stay here for a few more breaths, or option to bend your back knee and reach back with your hand to grab the top of the foot. Maybe kicking your foot into the hand, lifting a bit higher. And then exhale, release the hand and knee back down to the ground. Take a few cat-cows to reset, maybe turning onto the back side of the hands to give the wrists a little break. And then as you're ready, we will do that all on the other side. And if your wrists ever become really painful in the tabletop or anything we do, there's always an option to come onto your fists, because then that keeps your wrists really straight. So as you feel ready, you can extend your left leg back behind you, toes stay on the ground just to start, reaching through the heel, and then lifting the left toes off the ground as you feel ready and balanced. Keeping that leg super active. And walking the right fingertips forward, getting that length, reaching from the core. So feeling the right arm and the left leg reaching equal length away from your center, from your core. Lifting those fingers off the ground, beautiful. Really pull the belly in, lift out of the shoulders. Inhale, reach a little bit longer. And exhale, crunch your elbow to knee. Inhale, reach. Exhale, crunch. Really lifting the back of the heart, feeling the belly moving. Inhale, reach. Once more, exhale and crunch. Inhale, reach. Maybe you hold here for another breath, or option to bend your back leg and slowly reach back to grab the top of that foot. Starting to kick your foot into the hand, getting this nice back bend. Awesome. Lift a little higher as you inhale, and then exhale, release back to your tabletop. Do whatever you gotta do to reset. Maybe you shift the hips side to side, maybe you turn onto the backs of the hands again. Maybe you come into child's pose for a breath or two. And then coming back into your neutral tabletop, we'll give the core a nice break coming into puppy pose. So you can walk the hands forward, melt the heart down. Hips are staying over the knees. And your forehead or your chin can come to the mat or a block. Staying rooted in the forearms and the hands. Surrendering within the belly, surrendering within the front of the heart. And actively drawing your shoulder blades closer together. Let your tailbone reach a little bit higher. Feel the energy reaching through the space in between the sit bones. Another breath here. And then rooting down within the forearms and the hands. Start to snake your body forward. Pulling navel to spine, coming into a Sphinx pose, letting the pubic bone rest on the floor. Pulling the heart forward and through, rooting down in the tops of the feet, the pubic bone. You can play around with either tightening the glutes or relaxing the glutes. Some people get a pinching sensation in the low back, and the glutes are tight here, but sometimes it can provide extra support. So it just depends on the way your body's made. You can pull in the lower belly. Feel like you're dragging the floor closer to your toes. From here, just start to bring your elbows back and bring your hands more underneath the shoulders, coming right into a baby cobra. So feeling that difference when you don't have the elbows to hold you up. You don't have the hands to hold you up. Seeing how much you can lift the heart without the help of your hands. The neck stays long. Awesome. Exhale and release to the ground. can make a pillow with your hands, resting the forehead there. Bend your knees toward the bum and just windshield wiper a few times back and forth. Massaging your belly, releasing the lower back. And then starting to bring your legs back to center. You can extend them long on your mat. Bring the hands up underneath the shoulders and your elbows point straight up toward the ceiling. Maybe you tuck the toes and just start to play around with pulling the belly into the spine so that your belly lifts off the floor first. And then keeping that biceps close to the ribs, start to push the ground away from you, bringing yourself up through a tabletop. Lift the hips back and up, downward facing dog. Beautiful. So just play around getting into the right alignment for your first down dog. So you can look forward at the hands, see that they're shoulder width distance. See the wrist creases staying parallel to the front of the mat and rooting down into the hands the same way we did in our tabletop. To broaden the shoulder blades, you can bend the elbows out to the sides of your mat, hug them in so the elbows point down, and then slowly straighten out the arms. Feeling that extra length in the width of the shoulders. Letting them be neutral, so the shoulders aren't hugged up close to the ears and they're not drawing really far down your back. They're just in that neutral zone. Focus is on your sit bones, lifting as high as you can. Same thing, the energy is reaching through the space in between the sit bones. The knees can be as bent as they need to be. Maybe stretching out the soles of the feet, bringing the heels up over the balls of the feet, with the toes on the floor. Maybe you pedal out the feet, or maybe you just find stillness. Whatever is calling to you right now. And then finding some stillness, if you haven't. And just shift a little more weight into your left foot as you rise your right toes off of the ground, coming into a three-legged dog. And feel your leg reaching from the core, so channeling what we just did in tabletop. Lifting this leg from the core, feeling the right leg just an extension of your arms and spine. And then start to open up that hip, so you're bringing the right hip on top of the left, feeling that stacking sensation, maybe bending the knee. And maybe not fully stacking it, but seeing what that feels like to attempt that. Awesome. And then level out the hips, bring your right foot to meet your left. We'll do that on the other side. Start to shift more weight into the right foot as you rise your left toes off the ground, keeping the core super active. Awesome. Keeping that leg really active too. So the leg isn't just hanging out there, actively reaching up. Now, option 2, open up the hip, so stacking the left hip on top of the right. Taking any little movements that feel good to take here. And then leveling out the hips, bringing the left leg to meet the right. And just slowly start to walk your feet up to meet your hands. 1 inch at a time, no rush at all. Just exploring the sensations at each step. And when you arrive, lengthening the spine as you halfway lift. And exhale to your forward fold. Taking a few breaths here, bending the knees quite generously, lifting the sit bones a little bit higher, shifting the weight toward the balls of the feet. And grab opposite elbows. You can grab the big toes of the peace fingers, bending the elbows out to the side, getting a little bit more length in the spine. Letting out big exhales. Letting navel pull into spine as the sit bones lift a little higher. Relaxing the face, the neck, the shoulders. And on your next inhale, start to rise yourself up to stand. Reaching the arms out and up at the top. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Pausing at the top, checking in with yourself, checking in with your heartbeat, checking in with the mind, with the breath, softening the shoulders, softening the face. Inhaling to lift the crown of your head a little bit higher, and exhaling to root down through the soles of the feet. Inhale, lift your arms as you sit down into your chair pose. And exhale, forward fold, lengthening the legs, hinging at the hips. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your hands down, leave your right foot where it is, step your left toes back. Back knee can drop down to a low lunge. You can keep the toes tucked if that feels better, or come onto the top of the foot. And then bring your arms up into your low lunge. The arms can reach up for a moment, but feel your hips coming in toward each other, your inner thighs coming in toward each other, feeling that little lift. And then bend your right arm, bringing the elbow in front of your face, and we'll come into eagle arms. So you thread your left arm underneath, wrapping around so either the palms touch each other or the backs of the hands. Squeeze your inner arms toward each other. Inhale as you lift the elbows up to eye level or higher. And exhale as you bring the elbows down closer to the chest. So do this a few times, moving with your own breath. Noticing how this feels in your left hip flexor, how this feels in the inside of the right hip. Keeping everything about your lower body steady. And after your last breath, you can unwind the arms, bring the hands back to frame your front foot. Tuck your back toes under, lift the back knee up, and step back to a plank position. Holding plank for a few breaths here, heels reaching back, crown of head reach forward. Feel the collarbones widen and broaden. Awesome. Feel everything about the body super strong. Always option to bring the knees down, and then we'll lower down to lay on our bellies, bending elbows alongside the ribs. Inhale, lift the heart, baby cobra. Exhale and release. Inhale, push yourself back up, either through tabletop or plank, and come into your down dog. Taking a breath here. And then on your next inhale, you can step your left foot forward. And we'll come into a low lunge on the other side. So the right knee drops down this time. You can untuck those toes or leave them tucked. And reach the arms up as you're ready. So same thing over here, feeling the inner thighs drawing toward each other, feeling that slight lift. And tailbone's reaching straight down. So feeling that length in the low back. And this, how that increases the stretch in the right hip flexor. And then you can bend your left arm, bringing the elbow in front of the face, and bring your right arm underneath, coming into eagle arms on the other side. So inhaling to lift the elbows to eye level or higher, and exhaling to bring the elbows closer to the chest. Moving a few times like this. Hopefully you put on deodorant. I did not. And taking another breath here. And then when you are ready and feel even, you can unwind the arms. Bring them back to frame your front foot. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee up, this time stepping your right foot to meet your left at the top of your mat. Halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale and forward fold. Inhale, sit your hips down as you rise the arms up, chair pose once again. And then exhale, straighten the legs, arms come by your side, Tadasana, mountain pose. Letting the blood settle, letting the hips settle back into place. And on your next inhale, sit down into your chair pose, hips come down, arms reach up. This time exaggerating the length in the low back. So your tailbone's reaching straight down. It's not important how far you're coming down, as long as you can see your toes. You can imagine there's a block in between the thighs and they're squeezing in toward each other. Bring your biceps up alongside the ears. Beautiful. And then next exhale, lift the sit bones and hinge forward, forward fold. Inhale, long spine, halfway lift. Exhale, release. This time, leave the left foot where it is and step your right foot back, coming back into that low lunge. Back knee comes down. You can untuck the toes if that feels better. Then rise the arms up, low lunge. This time we'll cactus the arms and open up the heart. Bring the elbows closer together, backs of the hands closer together. And then option to either interlace the hands behind your back or grab opposite elbows. Then pull your fists toward the ground or lift your heart toward the ceiling, or both. And this really nice back bend, keeping the belly firm. Beautiful. Lifting the throat and the heart center. And then slowly coming out of this back bend, you can bring the hands to your hips. And then lift your sit bones back and up as you straighten out your front leg. And we'll fold over your front hamstring. So you can keep this foot fully on the floor if that feels good, or you can come onto that heel. You want to exaggerate the stretch in the hamstring a bit more. Whatever feels best. As you inhale, lengthen the spine away from the hips. So feel the body lengthen, the torso lengthen forward. And then as you exhale, hinge a little bit deeper. And really subtle movements as you inhale, finding more length in between the vertebrae and the spine. And as you exhale, hinge a little bit deeper at your hips. Perfect. And then we'll rebend the front leg. Plant your hands down around the front foot. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and step back to a plank. Hold here for a moment. Just really feel the power of your body. Feel how strong you are. And then slowly lower down to the floor. Inhale, lift the heart, baby cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, push yourself back up, either through tabletop or plank, and we'll lift the hips to your down dog. Next, inhale, step your right foot forward in between the hands. Allow your back knee to drop down and untuck those toes if that feels better. Arms rise up, low lunge on the other side. Feeling that lift, feeling really firm in the front foot, firm in the legs. And then cactus the arms, open up the heart, backs of the hands, elbows, shoulders coming closer together. And then option two, interlace the hands on this side as well. And if you are, just make sure you're switching the crossing of the hands. So you're on the side that feels a little funky. The opposite thumb on top. And then pulling those fists toward the floor as you lift the heart up a little bit closer. And seeing if you can get the heels of your hands to touch. Awesome. Keeping the belly firm, keeping the legs firm. Rooting down in the top of the back foot or the back shin. Awesome. And then slowly coming out of this, you can bring your hands to the low back or the hips. And then gently lift your sit bones back and up as you straighten out the front leg, coming into your hamstring stretch. The same thing here, you can leave the sole of the foot on the ground or lift the toes. You want to exaggerate the length in the back of the leg. Whatever feels best, listening to your body. As you inhale, find more length in the spine, crown of the head reaches forward and up. And as you exhale, hinge a little bit more at the hips. Feel your right hip pulling back. Feel the space you're making from the heel through the hip and the right side of the body. Another breath here. And then rebend your front leg. Bring your hands to frame the front foot. Tuck the back toes, lift your back knee, and step forward into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Exhale, release, forward fold. Take a few more breaths here in your forward fold. Seeing what else you can let go of. Letting the belly and shoulders be soft. And then plant your right hand in the ground in front of your face and put a generous bend in your right leg as you straighten out your left leg. Bringing your left hand to follow the leg, coming up to the hip. Left arm reaches up toward the ceiling. Into this nice little twist. Beautiful. Maybe looking up at those fingertips. Maybe starting to open your heart up more toward the ceiling. Not getting it there, but feeling that sensation. And rooting down on the inside edge of your left foot. Awesome. One more breath here. Inhale, reach a bit higher. And exhale, release. Do that on the other side. So the left hand can come to the ground in front of your face. Generous bend in the left leg as you straighten the right. Following the line of your leg with your right hand to the hip. And then opening up your heart to the right. Feeling yourself lift up and out of your left shoulder, so you're not dumping too much weight there. Feeling the arms equal distance. Feeling the heart open closer to the ceiling. Rooting down on the ball of your right foot. Another breath here. Inhale to reach. Exhale to release. Forward fold. Inhale, long spine, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold once more. Inhale, root to rise. Reach all the way out and up. Exhale, hands to heart center. We'll move through another flow on either side before we come into our seated positions. As you feel ready, you can reach both arms up. Exhale, hinge at the hips and forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and release. Plant the hands and step back to your plank position. And you can do what we've been doing, lowering to the floor to take your baby cobra, or lower halfway to chaturanga dandasana into your up dog if that's in your practice today. And we'll meet in our downward facing dog. On your next inhale, raise your right leg back and up. And exhale, bend the knee into the chest, shift the shoulders over wrists, place the foot in between the hands. Pivot your back heel to be parallel to the back edge of the mat as you rise up to your warrior two. So feel this right hip opening up. Check in with your alignment. See that your second toe is even with the middle of your ankle, even with your knee, even with your hip. And your front heel is either intersecting the back arch or in line with the back heel. Arms are equal distance from the heart center. Breathing here. Inhale to lengthen the crown of the head up. Exhale to settle the hips down closer to the floor. Now start to slowly straighten out your front leg. Shift your hips back as you reach forward as far as you can, coming to triangle pose. Once you can't reach forward anymore, your right fingertips reach down, left fingertips reach up. Pulling in the low belly. Reaching through the crown of the head. Feeling the spine staying long. Feeling the belly stay active. And then we'll rebend the front leg, bring the arms back up to center. Cartwheel the hands now to frame the front foot. Lift your back heel, step back to a plank. Move through a flow of your choice and we'll meet in a down dog. Letting it go. We'll just even out when you're ready. So next inhale, raise your left leg back and up. And exhale, knee comes into chest and foot comes to the top of your mat. Rise up to your warrior two on the other side. The same thing here, just checking with your alignment as you enter the pose. So you can see that your second toe is in line with the middle of the ankle, also in line with the knee, as well as the hip. And that is either intersecting the back arch or in line with the back heel. And if something about that alignment feels really off in your body, then feel free to come to a point or a place of comfort. Everyone's body is built differently. Awesome. A few more breaths here. Lifting up through the crown of the head as you inhale, settling down through the sit bones as you exhale. And then we'll slowly start to straighten out the front leg, shift the hips back, reach the arm forward, coming into triangle pose. Pulling the lower belly in, lifting, reaching through the crown of the head. Beautiful. Arms are equal distance from the heart. Another breath here. And then we'll rebend your front leg, bring the arms back to center. Pause for a moment here. And then we'll cartwheel the hands to frame the front foot. Lift your back heel, step back to a plank. Move through your final vinyasa and we'll meet in a down dog. Now slowly from your down dog, you can bend the knees and bring them underneath the hips to hover above the mat for a moment, feeling this power in the core. And then allow your knees to come down into your tabletop. Turn your right toes toward the right edge of the mat and stack your left hip on top of your right as you bring your foot parallel to the back edge of the mat. Lifting your left arm up into this modified side plank. And take some circles with your top arm so you can slice the air, reaching forward, back, but complete permission to play here. So you can change directions as you feel ready. Maybe even playing around with opening the heart toward the ceiling or closing it off toward the floor. Or maybe just getting that length from the outside edge of your left foot through the fingertips. Just feeling this movement be fluid and your own. And feel that you're lifting up and out of your right shoulder and out of your right wrist as well. Good. Not putting too much weight into the wrist or the shoulder on the right side. And now we'll just reach the left arm forward. So you're just in this really nice side body stretch on the left side from the foot, the fingertips. And see if you can imagine someone standing on the outside edge of your left foot and someone else pulling your left arm further in front of you. Awesome. And then keep reaching forward as you start to turn your heart to face the floor, bringing your left hand slowly to meet your right, turning the hips and the knees back to center. You can reset the body. You can turn on to the backs of the hands if that feels better. And then we'll do that on the other side as you are ready. So you can turn your left toes toward the left side of the mat and stack your right hip on top of your left as the foot comes parallel to the back edge of the mat, reaching the right fingertips up toward the ceiling. And taking those circles with the top arm. Or any movements at all. You don't have to stick to circles. Let's let this movement be free Just focusing on the sensations you're feeling in your right shoulder, your right arm. But also not forgetting what's touching the floor, not forgetting your foundation. So lifting up and out of your left shoulder as you do this, being strong in the left hand, and keeping the core active as well. Practicing being firm in most of the body, in the core, in the center, in the hands and arms, but then being really loose in just the right arm. And reach forward a bit more, just getting this really nice length from the outside edge of your right foot through the right fingertips. Feeling that sensation that the limbs are being pulled apart from the center of the body. So just keep reaching as you slowly turn your heart to face the floor and bring your right hand to meet your left. You can bring the hips and the feet back to center. You can take any little movements that you need to reset. But when you are ready, we'll meet in our child's pose. You can sit the hips on the heels. You can stack the hands resting the head there. And you know your options by now. So the feet can be together, the knees together. Feeling this more in the back. Or your knees can come as wide as the mat. Getting deeper into the hips. Arms can reach forward or back behind you. Or stacked underneath the head. As you inhale, breathe into the backs of your lungs and ribs, feeling the whole back expanding. And as you exhale, feel the hips settle down closer to the heels. As you inhale, find more length through the spine. And as you exhale, surrender in the belly. Relaxing the face, the feet, the shoulders. And then slowly, as you're ready, you can walk your hands toward the hips and bring yourself to a seat on your heels. And when you arrive, you can just let your hips fall to the right and bring both hands to the left. In this nice little twist for a moment. And then we'll do that on the other side, bring the heels back to center. And the sit bones coming to the left, hands coming to the right. And then coming back to center. You can cross the heels behind you and sit down here. So coming into a seat, that's however you'd like to get there. And then scoot yourself to the center of your mat. So you can reach the legs long, shake them out, maybe pat them down. Give some love to the legs and the hips. And we'll bring the soles of the feet to touch, and we'll come into your version of a butterfly pose. So if you'd like to focus more on your hip abductors up here, you can bring the feet in closer to your seat and bringing the knees closer to the ground, keeping the spine long, hinging here. Or you can bring them further away from you, getting into the hamstrings as well as your hip abductors into a long-legged butterfly. It's a little bit more passive, but they both feel really good at different times. So just see what your body needs today. Sometimes it feels better to stretch actively, so keeping that length in the spine as you inhale, feeling that length grow as you inhale, and then hinging more as you exhale, so pulling yourself deeper into the position. And other times it feels a lot better to just simply surrender, to curl at the spine, to release the head. So just listening to whatever you need today. Noticing where the sensations are the loudest, focusing your energy there, focusing your breath there. And slowly start to come back up to your seat. We'll get a little bit deeper into the hips. So you can bring your left shin parallel to the front edge of your mat, keeping that foot really flexed. And then bring your right ankle on top of your left knee. So the foot should be sliding off. You should be able to move your right foot freely here. And this will ensure that you're getting into the right area in the hips. And your feet can be really separated and lifted like this, or even more so. And staying there, staying at your natural edge here. So you can breathe into the intensity of this pose. Your shins are stacked and your knee and foot are stacked, but both feet stay flexed. You can bring your hands to your hips, maybe telling this area to soften or envisioning the breath traveling into your hands on the hips. That can be helpful. Now you'll notice you'll start to soften up here rather quickly, or quicker than you expect when you first enter the pose. So exaggerate the deepening of the breath. Maybe you close the eyes. Maybe you start to bring the hands more in front of the shins. Or maybe you stay lifted, just listening to your body. As you inhale, find some length in the spine. As you exhale, find softness in the hips. 2 more really deep breaths. See what you can let go of. You can bring the hands back behind you and unwind in the legs. You can take some windshield wipers just to reset the hips. And then we will do that on the other side. Coming into a double pigeon, you can bring your right shin now parallel to the front edge or the side edge if you're facing that of the mat. Keep that foot really flexed. And then start to bring your left ankle on top of your right knee. And again, you should be able to take circles with your foot. Just so, because if you come here, you can come deeper than is helpful for you. So with the foot off of the knee, might feel really, really intense, and you might be really lifted. And that is what you want. You want this to feel very uncomfortable, and then find some comfort within it. So find your breath. The louder that the body's talking to you, the louder the hips are talking to you, the better chance and opportunity you have to focus on the breath. You don't have any other option. Focus on the inhales coming into the hips and the exhale softening the hips. 3 more deep rounds of breath. Softening the jaw, the forehead, the shoulders. Noticing what is tense that's not helpful to you. One more deep breath. Slowly starting to come out of this. You can bring the hands behind you, untwist the legs, and do whatever you need to reset. So you can windshield wiper, you can just find some stillness, whatever your body's calling for. And then when you're ready, we will come down to lay on our backs. You can slowly lower yourself down, or if you want some core work, you can lower one vertebrae at a time. And we'll just meet with our knees hugged into the chest and rocking a few times. Massage your lower back against the mat. Feel the organs resting on the back body. Feel the hips settling down to the floor. The shoulders. Bring the soles of your feet to the ground now, and just shift your hips toward the right side of your mat as you let both knees fall to the left. Coming into this nice reclined twist. to finish up our practice this morning. Turning your gaze to look over the right shoulder. If you'd like to twist up the neck as well. Softening the belly, softening the left shoulder as well as the right. Relaxing your left hip. Slowly guiding your head back to center, followed by the knees, followed by the hips. Feeling yourself centered and even, and then shifting the hips to the left side of the mat as the knees fall to the right. Turning your gaze over the left fingertips or shoulder. And consciously softening both shoulders, softening both hips, softening the belly and the face. And beginning to guide your head back to center, the knees and the hips. And reach both feet up toward the ceiling when you arrive at the center. Reach the arms up to the ceiling. Just allow the torso to even out. Allow the four corners of the torso to be pinned against the mat by the weight of your limbs. Releasing all the muscles in the arms, the legs, the feet, and the hands. Allow the back of your head to be heavy into the mat, as well as the entire length of the spine. Letting all the organs soften into place. Allowing any energy that doesn't serve you to exit the body through the soles of the feet or the palms of the hands. As you feel all the healing benefits of this practice solidify within your body. And coming into your happy baby as you feel ready. And grab the big toes with the peace fingers, or the feet, the ankles, or the thighs. Maybe just finding that stillness, bringing the shoulder blades to the floor, or maybe rocking side to side. As you feel ready, you can lower yourself into your reclined bound angle pose with the soles of the feet touching and the knees dropping off to the sides. Or you can come right into your final Shavasana. Straightening out the legs. Letting the feet fall where they naturally fall. Releasing any need to hold anything up in the body. Giving yourself this time to fully and deeply rest. Letting your brain relax closer to the floor. Softening all the muscles in the face as you do so. The forehead, the cheeks, the eyeballs, the eyelids. the jaw and the throat, the shoulder blades and the collarbones. Tune in deeply to your heartbeat, noticing the rhythm of your natural heartbeat. And then noticing that heartbeat throughout your entire body, throughout the belly, the lower belly, and the pelvic floor, the glutes, the legs, the feet and the toes and the palms and the fingers. Feeling the pulsing of your entire body, the blood rushing through your entire body. Feeling the back of your heart, the space between the shoulder blades, pulsing into the earth as the earth pulses back into your heart. Feel the very crown of your head and the pulsing there. As your gaze peers into the screen of your forehead, and you feel the pulsing there. Allowing yourself to rest for about another minute in this total body awareness. If you would like to stay longer in this Shavasana, please feel free to do so. And if you're feeling ready to exit this pose, you can allow my voice to guide you. I'll start by calling some more air into the body, filling up every corner of the body with your breath, wiggling the fingers and toes, maybe rocking the head side to side. Taking a nice morning stretch if that feels good. Getting the body nice and long. Hugging the knees toward the chest. When you feel ready, finding your way to a fetal position on one side. And taking your time, pausing along the way. Leaving the eyes closed for now and finding your way back up to your seat. Meeting with our hands at heart center to seal the practice. Tuning into your heartbeat once again. and fully and deeply thanking yourself for your practice and your dedication. May this continue to heal you throughout the rest of your Sunday. May you bring some of this love and light into everyone that you cross paths with. Namaste.